your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
I know that this won't... I know that you won't feel sorry for him, but I just thought it was kind of interesting / funny. Drake continues to have a streak going in the wrong way when it comes to betting on sports teams.
Oh, the guy Drake.
Yeah, the guy Drake, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Drake curse is what they're calling it. He lost $1 million betting on the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Mavericks to win the Stanley Cup and the NBA championship, respectively. Okay. So anyway, he placed $500,000 on the Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. He lost that bet, obviously, and then he also bet $500,000 on the Mavericks to beat the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals, and he lost out on that. If you had that kind of money to throw around and you were going to place a wager on that, would you have bet on those two teams in advance of those particular finals?
Well, I wouldn't have had the slightest clue who was going to win the NHL, so I surely was not going to bet money on it. And I would have won, as I told you guys before, I picked the Celtics in 5s, and so I surely wouldn't have bet on the Mavericks.
Yeah, so you'd have put your money on the
I wouldn't I wouldn't have bet. If I had that kind of money,
I get you. I understand that.
It's just not my thing.
No, I know.
That's fine with anybody else to do it. You want to
you do
have at it, have fun with it.
Right.
Make $1 million, lose $1 million. I don't care.
Yeah.
Your world. But it's just not my thing.
Pepsi Man's on the move. He says, "Good morning, guys, from Fair Play, South Carolina." That's a town I've never heard of, but I mean, there's probably more than one of those that I have never heard of.
There's lots of golf courses there.
Fair Play?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair. It should be maybe, if it's going to be a golf thing, shouldn't it be play fair? Like just a subtle hint to remind people to play fair, mind the rules, follow the rules, that kind of thing. Play fair.
It's a gentleman's sport, Chuck. They don't need to be reminded.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much so that they keep their own score.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He goes on to say, "Just want to say, have a great day and go Yankees. Astros suck." Okay, thank you.
Well, right now the Yankees do.
Yeah.
Not winning a whole lot of late.
Jordan says this, "Pretty sure betting is the least of Drake's worry." You know.
Has he got other problems
Yeah,
too?
I think he's got some female problems.
It's a bad deal.
On his own, I think against the law kind of problems too. So, yeah, he's not the fine, upstanding. He's not going to get a Model Citizen Award or Citizen of the Day Award or anything along those lines. In Jacksonville, they are, I think, happier. The Jacksonville City Council last night approved an agreement between the Jaguars and the city on a $1.4 billion renovation of Everbank Stadium. They must really like that place because they're going to renovate it as opposed to tearing it down or starting over somewhere else.
That's good.
Yeah. That, according to this ESPN article, brings the Jaguars one step closer to securing long-term stability of the franchise, with the final hurdle getting the agreement approved by 24 of the NFL's 32 owners at the league meetings that come up in October in Atlanta. If that happens, construction will begin after the 2025 season and finish in time for the 2028 season. So 26-27 will be kind of a bunch of cranes out there, much like what we've had here in Lubbock the last couple of years. The mayor of Jacksonville says this is a historic day for our city. As I said to the council, this is what we can do when we all row together and we focus on a goal together. Yeah. Rowing together is important for any business of any size.
Okay.
Cities and city councils, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Now I know.
Now you know. The owner, Shad Khan, will be responsible for cost overruns as well as 80.4% of game day expenses.
Is he married to Shaka?
I don't think so. I don't think they're kinfolk there, Jeff. That'd be cool if they were, though. That'd be cool. And meanwhile, our little construction project here in Lubbock continues to go according to plan. Looks like, saw a video yesterday. Man, it's getting closer and closer and closer to being done. I think the coaches will move in by the 19th of July, and everything's game ready. We'll be game ready for the first game of the season. I'm really excited to see that.
Never doubted it.
I'm really excited to see that. I've not seen any of it, just from the outside, What?
Surprising that you're really excited to see it.
No.
I think there's a whole fan base that's excited to see it.
Yeah, no, I know that. I think everybody in town is excited to see it. So I'm excited to see.
So, Jamie, how long before we come in on a Monday morning during football season and Chuck says that he got to hang out in the rich people section?
I don't usually do that.
It's not the question I asked. Because I don't know it'll be the first game either. But how long before he's like, hey, I got to sit in the south end zone this week. Got to enjoy the game from one of the suites.
I would guess the first game.
No.
Well, he's got kibitzing to do with all the people that he normally sits with for the first game. He's going to be busy for the first game.
What I'm excited about is you'll be able to go around the whole stadium on the concourse. I think that go from
do some laps.
Well, no, I mean to just go from if you wanted to go over to the west side to say howdy to somebody, you could say hey. Gomer says hey. All those kinds of things. If you want to go over,
you couldn't do that through the north end zone before.
No, you can, but you couldn't do that through the south end zone because
that's something you think you'll do a lot of. Move from east to west.
No, I think maybe you'll go check out the south end zone from our spot.
Yeah.
That north I'm good with. I don't really have any desire to go north. It doesn't look.
Don't like the north side?
No, it's okay. I mean, it's
fine. It's not the south end zone. That's where all the rich people are.
South is the new shiny part, Jamie. I mean, that's going to be the place to go. I think this fall. Just kind of check it out.
Just remember, Jamie, all those people in the south, which way are they looking? Toward the people in the north.
That's right. I think the views are going to be spectacular from some of those angles.
You think?
There on the south end. Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
The views are going to be spectacular.
I think so.
June 26th. You heard it here first, folks.
There's going to
be beautiful views of the stadium.
Some spectacular views, yeah.
I think the view of the south end zone is going to be spectacular. Who in the world would want to watch a football game from the end and not on the side?
Well, maybe
that's why the 50-yard lines are way better than behind the end zone.
No doubt.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is time for this day in sports history. Today is June the 26th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire.
I'm going to start us off in 1916 because the Cleveland Indians experiment with something that caught on.
Names on the back of the uniform.
Close. Very close. I almost want to give you credit, but it was numbers.
Oh, numbers.
On jerseys in a game against the Chicago White Sox. It was the first time Major League Baseball players identified by numbers corresponding to those on a scorecard. 1962, Boston Red Sox, Earl Wilson no-hits the Los Angeles Angels 2-0. Frank Robinson hits 2 grand slams as the Baltimore Orioles beat the Washington Senators 12-2. 1993, New York vet Eddie Murray is the 20th to get 1,600 RBI. That would be in a career. If it was just in one day, it would be like a record or something.
Sure. Right.
1996 NBA draft first pick. Anybody want to take a guess?
1996.
We are
Danny
all very
Ferry?
familiar with his work.
LeBron James.
96? A little later.
No, yeah, that's way too early for LeBron. 96.
Gotta love this man's game. Maybe not his practice so much.
Allen Iverson.
Oh, there you go.
Georgetown guard was the first pick by the Philadelphia 76ers. In 2002, NBA first round, Houston Rockets took the first pick. Anybody want to guess who they picked? He was really tall.
Hakeem?
Yao Ming.
Yao Ming is correct.
Okay.
2002?
Oh, 2002. Yeah, sure.
And in 2016, former Red Raider Josh Tomlin outduels Justin Verlander, going 8 innings, giving up 3 runs on 6 hits, while striking out 3 in a 9-3 Indians win over the Tigers. Happy National Chocolate Pudding Day.
I love me some chocolate pudding. You big on the chocolate pudding? Do you like pudding of any kind?
I don't really eat much pudding, but I love chocolate pie, which is basically chocolate pudding, and it needs to be in a graham cracker crust.
I was waiting for that.
And I had that last night, and I'm better for it today.
So jealous.
And
Someone must
I'll have
love
it
you at your
tonight
house.
too.
Was it homemade or store-bought?
Does it matter?
Homemade. Oh, wow.
It's awesomeness in a plate. Does it matter?
I don't think we've ever bought a pie from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, former Texas Tech tight end Jace Amaro, 32 today.
Nice.
Ariana Grande, 31. Audrey Plaza, 40. Derek Jeter turns 50 today.
50.
Shannon Sharp, 56. Michael Vick, 44. Rudy Gobert, is 32. And Nick Offerman is 54. And on this day, one of my favorite events in really world history, but specifically from the U.S. side of this, U.S. and British pilots begin delivering food and supplies by airplane to Berlin after the city was isolated by the Soviet Union blockade. We know it better today as the Berlin Airlift. At the beginning of the operation, planes delivered around 5,000 tons of supplies to West Berlin every single day. By the end, those loads were increased to around 8,000 tons of supplies per day. The Allies carried around 2.3 million tons of cargo in all over the course of the airlift.
The airlift, I think, was like 452 days. When you consider, that's over a year, so it's crazy how long that took. 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Time. We already did that. We already did this day in sports history.
It's time to say this was this day in sports history by Jeff.
It was great. It was outstanding.
Yeah.
I saw this headline. Speaking of LeBron James, whom you mentioned,
Inaccurately.
Whether it was inaccurate or not, it's okay. Apparently, the Lakers are prepared to offer him a 3-year, $160 million max contract.
160?
It might be valued north of 160. He has until June the 29th, so it's still through the weekend, to opt into the final year of his current contract, which would pay him $51.4 for the upcoming season. But the expectation is that he'll forego that player option, become a free agent. The 3-year max, it's because James is 39. The over 38 rule stipulates that no player over that age can sign for more than 3 years. So should he opt out and sign the 3-year deal, the Lakers would be paying him through his age of 41. The question is, does he have 3 more years left in him? Is he worth that amount of money at age 39?
It's probably worth it for ticket sales too. I would say that he has 3 years left in him. He's still a very good player.
Okay.
And give him time to make it work, that he gets to play with his son at some point, probably. Speaking
of his son and LeBron, did you hear what he said when he was asked about the draft?
No.
We've all heard, high draft pick guys getting a lot of attention going, I want to be the leading scorer someplace. I want to go somewhere where I can be the leader of the team. When they asked him what he wants in the draft, he said he just wants to hear his name called. Didn't say he wanted to be a first-round pick or a lottery pick. Just wants to hear his name called. And while there's some element of ego there, because not everybody's name is going to get called, that's a kid with his head on his shoulders. He just wants his name. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't care. He's not saying he's got to be a Laker or anybody else. It's not about. I mean, it's about him hearing his name, but of the things you would hear for a player having that conversation with, I thought that was a lot refreshing.
Okay.
Now you want to dig into it a little bit more?
Well, he knows wherever he's getting. He might not get his name called overall. It's only 2 rounds.
Well, they've only allowed him to work out for 2 teams.
Sure.
Because they said that's the only 2 places he would go.
Right. I'm trying to give the kid a little bit of credit for saying at least the right thing.
But that's, I mean, his agent has said these are the 2 places we will go.
Lakers and who else?
Suns.
Suns.
But he just wants to hear his name called.
They're allowed not to draft him.
Do you think he gets drafted by the Lakers tonight?
No, I don't. I don't think he will. I think it'll be too bad of a look.
Okay. Do you think the Suns draft him then?
I don't know. I don't think he'll get drafted by one of those 2 teams probably. I think somebody will draft him, and I think whether there's trades involved or whatever, I think he's going to end up playing with LeBron.
So maybe the team...
I don't think LeBron's just going to immediately go sign with that team or anything like that. Maybe he will, but... I agree with Jeff. I think it's the right thing to say. I think it's well said. I think, but the behind the curtain thing is that their camp is trying to dictate what happens. It's the Eli Manning situation.
Sure.
But except they didn't just say we don't want to go there. They basically are saying here's where we will accept. And so, and this guy, their agent has said, hey, we've done this with our guys too. We've told teams, hey, we don't want to go there. So we're not sending him there for a workout with you. He's only worked out with for those 2 teams.
Or the John Elway situation, which is where this all really the genesis of, making that kind of demand for a top draft pick. And Bronny James is not a top draft pick, but certainly Eli was. And the best thing about John Elway is if you go back and watch that 30 for 30 on the 83 draft where the 6 quarterbacks were taken. Is Elway at the press conference with his rugby style shirt on and his dad smoking a cigarette in the back. I mean the theater of that draft with the Colts and then him ending up with the Denver Broncos was pretty awesome. Just going back to watch that old video and everything how that all played out well for Elway and the Broncos, not so much for the Colts.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today. This question, could Texas A&M afford to buy out Tim Tadlock's contract? Sure, I think they could afford to buy out anybody's contract.
Sure they could. Absolutely.
Yeah, so... College Station Red Raider says this, Jamie, you take a job here in College Station, you'd at least have a friend.
All right, thank you, College Station Red Raider. I appreciate it.
But
we could play tennis together, or we could hang out.
But you could never ever be involved with Texas A&M
together.
Baseball, could you?
We could. It would.
There's no price, right?
It would be really, really hard. There probably is a price, but
You could never say it's a great day to be an Aggie. You could never say that. There's no amount of money that would...
I wouldn't say that because that would be...
blasphemous or
no, it would
disingenuous.
Be... I'm not an Aggie, so I couldn't say it.
Yeah.
That would not be real.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Red Raider. I am able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I am not able to say... In truthfulness, it's a great day to be an Aggie because I'm not one.
Right. Yeah, I got you. There's a question. If Chuck were to get fired, what would be the reasoning? A, for performance. B, something he said. Or C, something he didn't do.
Chuck will never get fired. There's D. Chuck will never be fired.
Okay. To try to answer their question, it would be something Chuck did, but it would be because of what he did, the repercussions of it would be why he got fired. He would say something wrong to the wrong person who would then pull advertising. And it would have to be a lot of advertising. Because Chuck brings in a ton of advertising. It would take something along those catastrophic
Anything can
lines.
happen. You're only as good as the day you're in. I was taught that a long time ago.
Right. But again, like that would be the only way that you would get fired. Like it would have to be apocalyptic advertisement.
Let's try and not find that out.
Sure. Yeah. We're not rooting for this.
What would hurt the most? A head coach leaving a program just after a championship, or a player sitting out an important bowl game to be ready for the NFL?
Leaving the championship? Because the player going to a bowl game, it's a bowl game as opposed to a championship game?
What do you think, Jamie?
A head coach leaving after a championship.
At least you have the championship.
Right.
You know, you have the championship, so...
I
mean, if you
I think it's worse if the player sits out an important bowl game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so in the minority in this one, but like if you sit out a bowl game, I don't care if it's the Independence Bowl, you're dead to me.
Okay. This person says, staying home the 4th. I'm slipping out of the office early on the 5th, going to lake camping and fishing again for a few days. Okay. That's good. Good for you. All right.
What was your answer to that?
With regard to the 5th?
No, regard to the championship.
Oh! I'm with you. I think I have no problem with the head coach leaving after a championship because you've got the championship. I don't like the fact of
I still would have a problem with it. I'm not
that's not like I'm pining for that. But I mean, you give me the two things. I don't want a player sitting out an important bowl game, because that to me would be, you know, as you're moving forward here, an important bowl game is going to be, well, you're in the college football playoff. That would define to me an important bowl game or a Big 12 championship game.
You also don't see players very often skipping the college football playoff.
No, I don't know that we've seen that at all, have we?
I'm sure there's somebody somewhere.
I don't think we've seen that
I'm not
yet.
watching all of those rosters.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm a Texas Tech fan, and I want Texas Tech to win their bowl games. They matter to me. So if we have a player, by the way, that we're paying a bunch of money to, okay, and we gave him a scholarship, we let him go to class, we let him be a Red Raider, and he decides I'm not going to play, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
That matters to me. I don't care what bowl game it is. I care that Texas Tech wins.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, Mike McCarthy reportedly getting fed up with owner Jerry Jones. Remember, Coach, he owns the team. An ex-Cowboy personnel man recently told a reporter he's doing it the best he can. Some of the people I've talked to have said he's getting fed up with it a little bit. Well, I'm sure Jerry's fed up with not winning playoff games, but who does he blame for that? Does he blame the coach? Does he blame the players? Does he blame himself? He's never going to blame himself. He's probably going to be more blaming the coach, and probably more blaming the coach than anybody else, because it seems like the players he protects.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like he's got their back more than he does the coach.
Apparently, Bill Parcells was asked about this last fall. He said, I enjoyed working for Jerry. I learned a lot about the business side of the game. I found him to be very supportive. He was a benevolent person who did a lot for a lot of people. His word was good. I really liked him. Now that it does seem a bit odd, though, that he's in this boat now where he didn't extend, Mike McCarthy, and he's yet to extend Dak Prescott. It makes you feel like at this point in time that Prescott is going to be allowed to potentially be a free agent. Because if Dak Prescott starts the year without an extension, do you think that he's going to say to himself, I'm going to go out here and try to do the best I can, put up some big numbers, and then see where that takes me with regard to free agency, because the Cowboys' salary cap might be strapped, and there may be somebody out there that would be willing to pay him even more than what the Cowboys would be willing to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a bit of betting on yourself, so to speak. At this point in time for him, the Cowboys have said that they are intent on keeping Prescott and Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. But man, you kind of wonder how they're going to be able to do that when you look at the numbers that they are going to be faced with, especially what has been paid for by quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, and receivers, and what happened in San Francisco and other places where CeeDee Lamb's going to go, I'm every bit as good as that guy.
Yeah, you would think that is going to happen.
And then you have the whole Micah Parsons factor. If you could only pick two of those guys, would it be Lamb and Parsons that you would keep?
I mean, smart money tells you to keep the quarterback and the defensive superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can easier to find superstar wide receivers. But I think Dak Prescott's salary is out of control. I don't think you're going to win a championship with him making that much money. So I would flip away from what I think is the smart money here, and I would say Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, and then get younger at the quarterback position.
Let me ask you this:
get less expensive at the quarterback position.
Yeah, get less. Go find somebody in the draft, right?
Yep.
Go find somebody in the draft and then have them on a rookie contract, because all these teams that have had their most success, it seems like, with their quarterbacks have been done while that quarterback is on his rookie deal. Other teams have had success, obviously, after the fact, but man, it sure doesn't give you any wiggle room when you're paying somebody the amount of money that you are, Dak Prescott, and then you have to couple that with what Lamb and Parsons are going to get as well.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, so I'm sticking with the conversation that we were just having.
Okay.
Seems to be a hot one this off season. But I'm asking you, what do you think at the end of this upcoming season? What do you think the Dallas Cowboys should do with Dak Prescott? Do you think he'll be back, or though he'll be re-signed and be back? And then, or do you think the Cowboys will go in a different direction, and then add to it what you would do and what you think the Cowboys will do? So 2 parts.
Okay. I think the only way that I'm re-signing Dak Prescott is if they have some kind of postseason success. And to me, some kind of postseason success is going to be at least making the NFC Championship game. And I think it goes not only for Dak Prescott, but also for Mike McCarthy. Without question, no matter what, I'm doing everything. Unless he gets injured, I'm figuring out a way to get Micah Parsons signed. And then if you dismiss McCarthy and Dak Prescott, then maybe you're trading CeeDee Lamb to try to get some draft picks or be able to move up in the draft so that you can essentially start over. Now, what I think the Cowboys will do, I think the Cowboys will re-sign Dak Prescott before training camp starts and figure out a way to give him his money, secure him down, because that's what they like to do, and then right after that it'll be Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb may be left swinging in the wind just because they may not have enough money to sign him.
Well, they won't. That answer we can all agree on.
Yeah.
That they won't. With regards to what I want them to do, let Dak ride off into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Let somebody else pay him the $60 million a year that he wants, or the $58 million a year, the $55, whatever the number that he wants, because it's not going to be in the 35 to 45 range, which is what he should probably be paid. Someone's going to overpay him. Someone's going to bring them in and think that he is the answer to their problems in the NFL, because there is always somebody looking for a quarterback in the NFL. And then use your first or second round draft pick for the second time since you drafted Troy Aikman on a quarterback in the draft. That's what I want to happen. Then you sign CeeDee Lamb, you sign Micah Parsons. You've got enough money to go get some offensive lineman help. You go find another receiver somewhere. You get some help on the defense. Improve your roster around your rookie quarterback and go win the whole thing. Because that's what you can do when you're not spending $60 million on your starting quarterback, who isn't Patrick Mahomes. Now, what do I think they're going to do? I think they're going to pay Dak $60 million and let go of probably Micah Parsons.
Ugh.
Because if you're going to spend $60 on your quarterback, he's got to have a weapon to throw to. And then Mike McCarthy gets fired because he didn't make it to the NFC Championship game and win it, which is what he was brought in to do. And, Cowboys fans cry under their pillows, because that's what I will be doing should they sign that contract.
I think Cowboy fans would riot if they don't re-sign Micah Parsons.
Yes, I agree with that. Riot, yes.
Riot.
I agree with that.
I think I'm with Chuck and feel like the deal will get done with Dak, possibly even before this season starts. So yeah. So before training camp, I think he'll get into camp and all that good stuff, and he'll have a new deal. I don't think it'll be $60 million, but I think it'll be somewhere close to what the highest are getting, which is in the 55 range, right? Mm-hmm. I think that is what is going to happen. I think Micah Parsons will be signed. I also believe that CeeDee Lamb will be the one left out. What do I want to happen? I definitely want to see the Cowboys go to the draft for a quarterback. Give Trey Lance a shot. Obviously this was a guy that was ranked very highly by a lot of different people. That is, unless they, continue to see things in camp or in training camp and in practices that say, man, the whole NFL world swung and missed on this dude because he doesn't have it. But at some point, he was thought of as, a top 3 pick. So, he only lost that starting job because of injury, and then Purdy kind of took over and ran with it. So I'd like to see the guy get a shot and see if you could win that way.
Yeah, and they spoke pretty glowingly of Trey Lance here in the offseason about how he has, quote, full grasp of the offense. Now, full grasp of the offense, can he execute the offense, in real time, in real games? So we'll see. What about Mike McCarthy? Do you think he's their coach this time next year?
No.
Is it his choice or the Cowboys' choice?
Cowboys.
Okay. Usually.
At this point, it has to be the Cowboys' choice, isn't it?
Well, they've
got to offer him a contract.
Yeah, but
he could say, I want to go somewhere else.
He could say, I could go somewhere else. But the only way that he's going to get a job somewhere else, right, is if he has some kind of success with the Cowboys.
Probably so.
He's had 3 12-win seasons.
I'm just talking about postseason success. Hmm? He's not had any postseason.
You're both right. He's had some sort of success.
Yeah.
But I think it's about winning in the postseason. This roster is, expected to be built to win. So win in the postseason, not in the regular season.
They've kind of just laid eggs in the postseason.
Don't give me that look. I watched every one of those games. I know exactly what they did in the postseason.
Kind of just.
You had no business losing to Green Bay last year at home against a quarterback who, at the beginning of the season, wasn't going to be necessarily the guy they were in love with.
Yeah, and then a couple years ago,
it was season though.
He was good at the end of the season, but the Cowboys lost at home in the first round of the playoffs to a guy who, at the beginning of the year, wasn't guaranteed of his job, and you made him look like John Elway.
Well, and then you look at a couple years before, losing at home to San Francisco,
the team that went on to play in the Super Bowl.
I know, but you lost at home.
That one stings a little bit less because they went on to play in the Super Bowl that year.
But at the time, the Cowboys were favored to win that game.
No, they weren't.
San Francisco
was screaming up the AFC West at that point. NFC West, sorry. In the NFC West. They were screaming up at that point. They were one of the hottest teams because they'd made the Christian McCaffrey trade.
Okay, still lost at home.
Still lost at home, right. But San Francisco was not the team any Cowboy fan wanted to play there.
Okay. Somebody said this, you're allowed to get better, Jeff.
As soon as Dak does, I'll let you know.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today, hour 3 of 3 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio, and look forward to hearing from you today on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too this morning. The temperature's actually gone down. You know, we have that temperature inversion. You know, it seems like it is really effective in a negative way in the winter months, where, you know, like at 6 in the morning when we're coming to work, it's, you know, 35 degrees, and then when the sun starts to come up, and I don't understand the whole reason behind it, and I'm not going to try to go into it, but, you know, the temperature goes down. And the temperature's actually gone down a little bit this morning since I came to work. It was like 82. It was hot when I walked out this morning. And I love the hot weather. I mean, I'm not complaining. I was just like, man, it's already hot. And it's going to probably get really hot today again. Mm-hmm. And I'm cool with that. I like the hot weather. Yates Flooring Center chat line on the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Here's a question. What are the records of the Rangers and the Astros since Chuck guaranteed the Rangers would finish above the Astros? Well, no. I said the Astros season was over, if you want to kind of get it correctly. I didn't necessarily say that the Rangers were going to finish above the Astros. I said that the Astros season was done, finished. They weren't going to make the playoffs. So I said the Astros were done when they were 7-17. So since that particular point in time, they've gone 30 and 25.
Not necessarily tearing it up.
No, but they're now within a game of 500. They win today. Mm-hmm. And I said that they wouldn't win today. And somebody says, I'm now gambling everything I own on the Astros today. Mm-hmm. Okay, good luck to you.
Good.
I hope you win. I hope you get what you're looking for today. Okay?
Hope that's not one of your customers, Chuck.
Well, me neither. But I mean, I hope that they win. I mean, I hope that they win. I don't want to, I don't want them to lose everything that they own just because they're betting against me.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
they did put LOL behind it, so of course that means nothing. That means they're not going to do anything. Not going to place a bet or anything along those lines. Somebody says this: when Texas visited Tech after stealing Chris Beard, they were met with an extremely hostile crowd. Yeah, it was hostile. I mean, but it was a good college atmosphere. And I think
it was definitely hostile.
Yeah,
it was a little more than just a good college atmosphere that night. There was something a little different there.
Yeah, there's extra venom in the air. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. It was so much fun.
It was. Mm-hmm. And he overplayed the the asking for the extra security, and of course, they made a big drama out of it. Then somebody says when Texas visits A&M,
I don't know, when you have 200 people there or whatever showing up. Was there 200 people? Is that accurate?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Show up for the bus. I think he probably did the right thing. I mean, not that I was afraid that some Red Raider fan was going to shoot him, mm-hmm. but it was probably the smart thing to have the extra security.
Yeah, maybe so. It just seemed like he overplayed that, but that's okay. When Texas visits A&M in baseball, they'll be met with bubbles. Bubbles.
Because the A&M fans shoot bubbles all the time, which is something I just don't understand. It feels like it's engulfing the field mm-hmm. of play. It just feels like that would be a distraction, and they would not allow that.
Did they get out?
If you don't allow artificial noise makers, but mm-hmm. you do allow things that, I don't know, are distracting or get in the way of vision, mm-hmm. I would think that would be not allowed. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overblowing that.
Mm-hmm. Do the Bubbles, do they make it out on the field to play?
Well, it depends what the way the wind's going.
I guess so. I just didn't know. I mean, by the time they got to the field to play, and I guess if you're blowing a large volume, eventually some of them are going to.
Oh yeah, they're not being done by hand. They've got their bubble guns.
Oh, the bubble gun! I like the bubble guns. Those.
You've not seen any of these?
I don't think so.
You've not seen this happen? They're even doing it in Omaha.
Oh.
Even Jeff Kent's wife, as he sat there looking miserable. Did you see Jeff Kent?
No, I didn't.
I mean, so they kept showing him during the games, and I mean, he just looked unhappy to the core.
Really?
I mean, A&M scored at one point, and the wife shooting the bubbles, and he's just sitting there looking like, I mean, maybe it's just the nerves of his kid. Maybe. I don't know. I know I'm not the most happy-go-lucky guy in the world. Then his kid hits a home run, and, the crowd erupts. They're going nuts and all that. And he's like, okay, I guess I got to stand up. And he just really slowly claps, okay, I guess I'll clap for the kid. I mean, it's just good gosh, man, have some fun. You're at a baseball game, not a funeral. He just looked really unhappy. Maybe it's his reputation preceding him. I don't know, but he just looked really unhappy.
Yeah, I was out of town this weekend. I was following it more than I didn't watch any of it to be just totally honest with you over the weekend of A&M and in Tennessee. The Bubbles help those Aggies not get their little feelings hurt. That's what somebody says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's one thing for Slosh to go to Texas, but for another for him to be so bold and lying about it. He did the same thing at TCU. Who wants a liar? Well,
it's just really odd that he was so. I mean, because the reports that you're hearing is that this deal was done at the end of the regular season before the regional. Okay. And so for him to be to angry and adamant and
defensive.
Yeah, to say, I don't know, you just think that he would be more cautious with it and say, to open up the door for the possibility of him leaving and not making it look like he's a liar or he's a jerk about it, right?
Yeah, right, because he's...
So when he's asked that question, say, man, I hate asking that question today. This is about my team right now, and this is about us, coming up a little bit short than what we want to do. It's still a great season, but I'll worry about that stuff later. That's all you got to say.
Right.
That's all you got to say, and you've not said anything.
Out of respect to my team, I just don't really want to talk about that.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, every one of us could come up with something,
sure.
But to act so, I don't know, strongly worded like he did, and
call the reporter selfish,
fully well knowing that he was already gone.
Yeah,
It's just crazy. That's just arrogance at its peak.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.